Hey, it's Movie Gal again. I have another big stack of movies to go over and let you know how much I like them, don't like them, whatever. Anyhow, let's see. The first movie, we'll jump right in here. Um, it is Out of Time with Denzel Washington. I really enjoy Denzel Washington. I think he's a great actor. I own quite a few of his movies, so you'll probably see more of him as I go through more of my collection. I love this movie. It's a awesome game of cat and mouse. Um, it's about being one step ahead, and it's amazing how it all turns out at the very end. You think you've got it figured out, and you think you really know what's going on, and you get to the end, and then you find out something completely different. Um, let's see. This has Denzel Washington is playing the chief of police, and he finds out some other interesting things as it's going on. Eva Mendes is in this. She's great. This is one of her earlier movies. Yeah, Alex Gardner was one of the executive producers. It's fantastic. It's a really good Denzel Washington movie. It's got a lot of action in it. It's nonstop. You think you've got it figured out, and then you get to the end, and you're like, oh my goodness, awesome. It keeps you going. It keeps you on your toes. It's got to do with some murder and some money, and it's a really great movie. I would recommend it. If you are a fan of Denzel Washington, it's fast paced. You'll get to the end of the movie, and you'll be like, wow, that was an hour and a half long. And you'll just be amazed at how fast it went by. Next is one of my favorite Mel Gibson movies. I love The Patriot. I think some of the action scenes and some of the fight scenes with cannonballs and the heads rolling after they're hit with them is fantastic. Some of the backdrop scenery, especially on Blu-ray in high definition, it looks beautiful. We do have a 3D television, so you are going to see some 3D movies come through here, and I'll also let you know how well they looked in 3D, if it's worth purchasing them or not. Some of them have been out for a while, and we don't always buy the latest ones when they come out, but we try if it's something that we really, really want. Heath Ledger's also in this movie. I really liked him in this. He plays Mel Gibson's son. The storyline takes place back in the American Revolutionary War. And it just explains, how families change and what happens after you go to war and come home, and just it's wonderful. It's got a great view of of what it may have looked like back at that time. The storyline is wonderful. It's got a great love story. The scene on the beach with Mel Gibson and I think it's his wife. The background is just absolutely beautiful and in HD in Blu-ray. It just looks so pretty. They did such a great job with it. It's just a wonderful story. If you're not into war movies, I still think you'd appreciate it because it's not just a war movie. There's also a love story tied in. I'm not sure if I liked it. I'm not sure if I liked Braveheart as much as I liked this one, but I definitely like this one more. I appreciate, what the storyline's supposed to be and the wonderful acting that took place in it. There's some great people in this. Other than Mel Gibson and Heath Ledger, it's got Jolie Richardson, Isaacs, Chris Cooper, Tom Wilkinson. I can't pronounce some of these other names. So unfortunately, if you want to check out who else is in this, you're going to have to look it up. But I definitely recommend it. The movie's been out for a while. It's definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it. If you have, great. I'm just letting you know that I really enjoyed it. Like as I've told you before, I love true stories. This is a good true story. One of my favorites, The Blind Side with Sandra Bullock, about the baseball player, or excuse me, the football player. Jeez, the football player, and how he went from being pretty much homeless to making it to the big leagues. It's a fantastic story. I'd highly recommend it. I don't have too much to say on it, just that I really enjoyed the movie. I love football movies anyway. I'm a fan of Friday Night Lights, the series that was on TV any given Sunday, Varsity Blues, those types of things. I enjoyed those. The underdog, he makes it, they win the national champions, yay. Anyhow, I enjoyed this movie. I recommend it if you have not seen it. It's great. It is based on true stories, so that's another plus for me. I love those kind of movies. They did a wonderful job with casting this. Tim McGraw is in this. Kathy Bates is in this. Sandra Bullock and Quentin Aaron. It is phenomenal. They do a fantastic job of portraying the family and the gentleman that became the college All-American first-round NFL draft pick. You know, it's wonderful. I recommend it. Wind Talkers. Another true story. And this is a military movie. I enjoyed this one. I like how you come to find out about World War II and, you know, the different languages that were used. Like in this, it was the Navajo code talker. You know, befriended a sergeant and must ultimately decide how far he'll go to protect the military's most powerful secret. Yeah, they used the Navajo language to speak back and forth when they were getting ready to do the different ambushes and different things that they were setting out to do. The storyline is fantastic. It's got Nicolas Cage in it. I love Nicolas Cage. He's another one of my favorites. Got Mark Ruffalo in it. It's a fantastic movie. It's got Christian Slater. I can't say enough about it. It's a great World War II movie. I'm partial to World War II. I like history, stuff about the Holocaust and World War II and the Great Depression. And I'm a big fan of time period pieces in the 1900s. Further back as it goes, they're okay. They don't interest me quite as much, but these ones definitely do. I enjoy them. And this, again, this is based on a true story. So I appreciated it and enjoyed it. I would recommend it. It is rated R, but that's only because of the violence. So I would definitely recommend taking a look at it. Apollo 13. I love this movie. This is one of my favorite Tom Hanks movies. And Ron Howard is phenomenal. It's amazing to think that he was just a little boy on Andy Griffith, and now he's directed and been in so many movies for such a long time. I love this true story. Kevin Bacon is in this as well, which I enjoy him as well. It's a fantastic story about what really happened when everything went wrong with Apollo 13. This is the 15th anniversary edition. There's some extra special stuff on here. There's a making on here. There's information about the actual 13, the astronauts' stories of the real people that went up in space. I think they did a great job of capturing how serious this was and for the time frame that it was. You know, they got some great people acting in these amazing roles. Bill Paxton, Gary Steiness, Ed Harris, Kevin Bacon, Tom Hanks, like I said. You know, Ron Howard did direct it. It's just a fantastic story. Ed Harris is phenomenal in this as the, as, I don't know what I would want to call him, as like the chief in command, you know, to helping them get to where they need to be. It's amazing to see what these men and women went through and their poor families when they were up in space, you know, wondering if they were going to ever make it home okay because of something that happened in the spaceship. We Are Marshall. Another true story. Another football story at that. Fantastic movie. Matthew McConaughey is wonderful in this. Also, the other supporting actor in this, I believe he was in Party of Five. I could be incorrect. No, I'm right. That's Matthew Fox, yeah. This is another great movie. It's a very sad story, but I'm so glad that somebody took the time to make it. And it's horrible to think that, you know, the football team goes through so much after a plane crash. And in fact, actually, another movie that I really enjoyed, and I haven't brought it down to talk about it yet, but I definitely will be, is Alive, about the, I think it's a soccer team. It's either soccer or rugby, but I think it's soccer. Anyhow, I think it's amazing how they just come back to life after losing so many players, and they just rebuild, and they become such a strong team, you know, after having such a horrible thing, tragic happened to them. Again, it's a true story, so of course I absolutely loved it. I love seeing people, you know, overcome difficulties and making it. So the next one is one of my favorites as well. These are all my favorites. You're going to hear me say that a lot. Office Space. Somebody Has a Case in the Mondays. I love this Jennifer Aniston movie. I've always loved this. It's fantastic. I mean, I think you really have to have worked anywhere out in the real world, anywhere. Whether it be, I don't know, at a place that looks like Applebee's or in an actual office or whatever. Anybody can just understand, when a boss is breathing down your neck and what's going on and being put in the basement and burning places down. Well, I don't think any of us have done that, but, this is one of my favorite movies, though. I love all of the characters. I do have to admit, though, I do think the man with the red stapler is my favorite character. Of course, who wouldn't it be? Why would it not be? I do appreciate, the banter, and I still think that my absolute favorite part is when they take the fax machine out into the field and beat the crap out of it. Because I have some office equipment where I work that I would love to do that too. It would be great. But unfortunately, just not allowed. This is my all-time favorite Brad Pitt movie. I'm not a huge fan of Brad Pitt. I think the first movie that I saw him in that I actually kind of enjoyed his character was probably Thelma and Louise. I thought he was absolutely attractive in that movie. I don't find him that attractive to begin with, though. I'm not sure what all the hype is. I think he did a fantastic job in this movie. I love how he ages backwards. As an old man baby child back to an actual baby. I think the storyline is fantastic. I love how it goes through the course of time. I love how it's interlined into another story with the woman that he fell in love with and how you see her age and just him going backwards. I think it's phenomenal. I love all the special features in this. It's a very, very long movie, but I'd highly recommend it if you've got some time and if you're not opposed to, I don't know, fantasy type movies. It's not really sci-fi, but it's definitely a fantasy. There may even be a book on it. I'm not sure if it's based on a book or not, but I can't imagine why there wouldn't be. It just seems like it could be a book. I could be totally wrong, though. Anyhow, I absolutely love this movie. I watch it every once in a while, but I do, when I sit down to watch it, I have to watch the whole thing in its entirety. I can't just stop halfway through. I tried to do that one time, and I was just like, oh, I can't do that. It's an extremely long movie. It's 165 minutes. But it's definitely worth it. In Blu-ray, it looks phenomenal in some of the scenes, especially when he's out on the boat, being the fisherman. Anyhow, yeah, I really love the story. I thought it was great. I thought it was an amazing story as to how things can change over time and people can change. And anyhow, so this next movie is called Project X. This is not Project X like a party movie. This is Project X from the 80s with Matthew Broderick and Helen Hunt. I absolutely love this movie. It is a fantastic movie about monkeys, about teaching them to fly, and it's an 80s movie about Air Force jet pilot who ends up working in Project X. And there's a heartwarming story in here with the animals and with how it all plays out. It is an older movie. It may be harder to find. You might actually have to purchase it. I think sometimes it shows up on Netflix. I can't remember. Maybe Amazon Prime or Hulu might have it sometime if you're interested in trying to watch it before you purchase it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you like heartwarming stories about animals, I think you will appreciate it. It's a fantastic story. I'm not necessarily sure if it's true or not, but I couldn't imagine it not being true because it would make sense for it to be true. It would just, I could see something like this definitely happening with our military. It would make sense. Probably one of the strangest Robin Williams movies that I think that he's ever done. 1 Hour Photo. Very creepy. I enjoyed it. I love scary movies. I love movies where you think you have it figured out, but you don't. It's just amazing to watch him kind of try to take over these people's lives through their pictures. And has copies and a whole wall of just photos from this family. It's just so bizarre. It's such a great story. It's a little off kilter, but I definitely recommend it. It's one of my favorites. For a good time call. Oh, I love this movie. I think it was a little underrated. I saw some reviews that said that they absolutely hated it. And it's one of those movies that either you're going to love it or you're going to hate it. I think it's a great storyline. I thought it was pretty funny. how they started the sex call line, and how much money they were able to make off of it. And I just think it's hilarious. I thought it was a pretty cute idea. Amazon didn't care for it very much. I appreciated it. I've watched it a few times since I purchased it from them. It's worth a watch. I think it's more of a chick flick than a guy flick, even though it does have to do with the phone sex. I still think it's absolutely hilarious. I was unable to get my husband to sit down and watch it with me, but I enjoyed it immensely. 50-50 with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Seth Rogen. This is a very serious movie. It's very sad. It's a really good movie, but it's sad at the same time. It's sad to see what this poor man goes through. You know, through the whole course of dealing with finding out that he has spinal cancer at such a young age. There's just there's some things that happen that just make me cringe. You know, I just couldn't imagine some of the things that happened to this poor man. This is inspired by a true story, so it's not necessarily completely based on the true story, but in the special features, there is a story of 50-50, so there is some information about the real person that this is about. I think this may be a more quirky or funnier look at it, at least at something so serious. I enjoyed it. I think other people will enjoy it. If you like true inspired movies, it's very good. If you've ever had to deal with cancer, though, it may not be something for you to watch. But, you know, it's totally up to you. It depends on how much things affect you. I would give it a look. It was a sleeper hit. You know, they had it there in the background, and I think some people may have missed it. But I definitely would give it a watch. I enjoyed it. Anyhow, so until next time.